I'm Jason Flint. I live in Decatur, Texas, which is just outside of Fort Worth. We own and operate Barco Well Service, which is one of the larger well contracting companies in Dallas, Fort Worth. We do predominantly irrigation wells of all types, from homeowner size yard wells to big industrial golf course or HOA type wells. We've got concrete plants and data centers, industrial customers all over town. In our part of the world that would prefer to use groundwater, or it's more financially attractive for them to use groundwater instead of paying for water from a municipality. We have 25 full-time employees at the well company. We also founded a company about 4 years ago that allows well owners and water producers to monitor their assets from their phone or computer. And the metering company, called Resource Monitor, is now in 7 states, measured about 1.6 billion gallons last year. So we are involved both in the production side, we're a contractor, and we're involved with conservation and compliance a lot with our customers. And then that particular segment of our businesses has spread to several different states. And so we came up with the idea of this seminar, Compliance and Conservation in a Polarized Market. It's been our experience that compliance and conservation often tend to be politicized, and that can range from viewing a sustainability agency or a conservation district as the water police. Conservation to a water producer may imply that they have less volume to work with. Compliance can be viewed as an overreach by a governmental agency. And so in this seminar, we're going to talk about several different angles, both for the contractor and for the well owners, to view this in a little bit different light, to work with the sustainability agencies and to kind of change that mindset a little bit. We've seen where the agencies that are trying to help manage the water have got assumptions that they're basing a lot of their decisions on. And we found that sharing data both up and down the chain with them has been very useful in helping them sharpen their management tools when they're viewing the future conditions in an aquifer. One particular instance, we had a user that was producing about 60 million gallons a year, and he'd been reporting zeros to the Groundwater Conservation District. Well, they were making decisions based on what they thought was coming out of the ground, and they were just in one user, they were off by 60 million gallons in their assumptions. So working together with the districts and sharpening the models and the data is one angle. We're going to talk about working with field inspectors. We found numerous situations where errors were being reported to the sustainability agency just because the inspectors and the well owners didn't connect on how they were supposed to actually read a meter. And so we worked with them. One user was reporting 1/1000th of how much they were actually using because of the way they were reading the meter. We also deal with a lot of well owners that have recently moved to the country from the city. And we're going to touch on some facts and figures, topics to discuss, and educate our customers as a contractor in just some common sense conversations that need to happen. We found a lot of people move to the country and they think that there's this giant river of water that runs all the way down to Texas from the Great Lakes, and it's underground, and all you have to do is drop a pump in there and you can pump all the water you want. We all have had some of these interesting conversations, but when you put it in terms they can understand, where coming from the city, they had to pay for water, and now they just walk by their sprinkler controller and hit manual run all stations, and they laugh because it's costing them 60 cents in electricity. But what they don't understand is that same volume of water is how much water is in their swimming pool. And you ask them, you wouldn't drain your swimming pool every week. And they would say, no, that's obviously wasteful. Well, every time you punch that button and run all stations on your 1.5 or 2 acres, it's the same volume of water. So some real world facts and figures we'll touch on. We will look at a couple of case studies where technology has been introduced into the situation as far as managing and conservation. One user was able to cut 33% of their usage in 1 year just because they were eliminating waste on a few different items, leaks in the system. override on controls that, malfunctioning float switches, things like this. They were sending water down a drainage way during a rainstorm. They were sending groundwater down a drainage way. So we'll touch on a few of those topics and case studies. And generally, the outcome that I would hope for contractors attending the seminar would be a couple of different views on working with their sustainability agency, arming them with some topics and facts and figures to start the conversation with their customers about conservation. Um, Review some things that contractors can do to be involved, both upstream and downstream, with the data and their sustainability agencies. And then we'll just look at, again, some facts and figures, hopefully to arm contractors for what they're going to see and what they can possibly do to affect compliance and conservation in the field. Seminar is Wednesday, December 10 from 11 to 12. And I look forward to meeting anyone that wants to come by and talk about it with us.